As we're talking about that education process, when you're taking on a client, how important is that they're thinking about life after the career before you involve them in signing them to Clutch?
It's very important. And I'm telling you, man, athletes, they live a tough life. It looks great, but when you think about all they endure and the pull down, I always tell my family, let me be your back line of defense. Don't allow yourself to think that what's mine is yours. But if I'm your back line of defense, then, we can really stay afloat. For athletes, we all have survivor's remorse, right? We all have that feeling that we feel obligated. And like Mr. Bridgman said, I got guys 22 making $200 million over the next 4 or 5 years. I got several of those guys, right? And
by the way,
but the reality of it is, I'm constantly telling them that's not a lot of money based upon where you're starting, because you're starting from zero, right? So how do we understand how to compound that? Because they're done at 33. Everyone's not going to play till they're 40. They're done when they're 33. That money's taxed. They're paying a 55, 51% tax. Not to mention, jeans today, the ones they want that they're buying in excess, which they probably don't really need that, cost $2,000. It's not the same. His jeans cost $25. It's a difference. And so it's all relative. No athlete can afford to fly private all the time. Yet we see so many athletes on their Instagram flying private. I fly Delta. I cannot afford to fly private. And that's okay with me. You know what? And I'll sit in the Comfort Plus as well.
Comfort Plus?
Yeah, because I'm just trying to get where I'm trying to go to make the money. I'm not trying to spend the money, I'm trying to get there, And the times I do fly private, you will never see it on Instagram because it's not for show. And so I think that, again, it's just this mentality. You have to value infrastructure in any business, in anything, whether that's a family infrastructure, whether it's a business infrastructure. You have to have that. You can't scale without the infrastructure. But again, growing up, all we know is how to compete amongst one another. He's been around a long time. These guys have come in and out the league. They don't aspire to be him, right? But they want to be the rappers, etc., because they want to do things in excess. He's got an unbelievable portfolio. Imagine if we had our own fund that we allow him to oversee, as well as someone from Blackstone or someone from Apollo or someone from Aries. And then we compounded just 20% of that income. I don't need the whole tree. In the circles I run in, they're much more wealthy than I am. But like I tell them, I just want a little piece of the bark. I don't need the whole, I just want to get in the back seat and ride. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna sit back here. You don't even notice I'm here. That's how I look at myself. And I really believe that. And so I just try to get my guys to understand that, because we come from an environment to where we only want to conquer. We want to conquer. That's why we're killing each other. We want to conquer. There can only be one king, which allows you not to collaborate. If you don't collaborate, then that means we're not communicating. If we're not communicating, then that means we're unable to build what? A community. If we don't build a community, then how are we going to build anything generational? You just saying some shit that sound great. You know what I'm saying? But it's not realistic without taking the proper steps. You understand what I'm saying? And we've all been there. I come from just as tough place as anybody in the world. But at the same time, I can't have the same habits once I made it out. I can't go back and glorify the same things and not give it up, right? But if you're gonna ask me for a job, you also have to be capable of doing the work. I can't give you anything, right? You gotta be capable of actually doing it once that opportunity is given. And so it's a two-way street. And I'm just, I really stress this all the time. I want to be able to hire as many people as I can, right? But you got to have the capabilities. And so, let's match each other's energy from that perspective. And like he said, everybody's not going to get rich. That's not realistic. But you in position. We didn't grow up next to people that have careers. They had hustles, jobs. Some had decent jobs. Very few had good-ass jobs and careers. It's just the truth. And so we're trying to fill our way through, and life is all about managing transitions. You have to be able to, that's why a car comes with a transmission, to understand those gears. You got to know when to park, when to reverse, when to stay neutral, and when to accelerate. That is real in life itself as well. We've all been in a situation where we had to make decisions and say, you know what? Let me just back up a little bit, or let me just park it right here before, or if it's going great, let me hit the gas and get to where I'm trying to go. And so that's how I think every day I wake up. I've never celebrated one deal I've done. Not one. When I started working with LeBron and for LeBron, the most money I ever made working for LeBron was $48,000 a year. That's the most I ever made. I was only on his salary for 2 years. That was, since '06, I've been off his payroll, right? We're in 2023. It was important for me to get off of his payroll as fast as I possibly could. That was very important to me.